I mean, now's the time of the night where I normally talk about how anachronistic progress is going, but I'm done with that. So.
Fucking done.
Oh man, I can talk about something though. Man, over the past week, I have been. This is in addition to me being tired. Been hit with just like a really strong melancholy about being done with it. And I kind of realized this is the biggest character I've ever said goodbye to, and really the only one, because like, sure, I have finished a novel and decided not to work on it anymore, but that's different.
Yeah.
Like that's a story I've just decided won't be finished.
You told the complete tale of Neil.
Mm-hmm.
It is all of Neil. You did it. You won. You finished it.
And I miss Neil. It's sad. And I've never been particularly a person who thinks about getting tattoos. I've had some like fluttering ideas before, but no, I have like the feeling people have described to me as the I need to have a tattoo feeling. I'm actually strongly considering getting an anachronistic tattoo.
No, that's all right. That's all right.
So that's been some very weird melancholy I've been going through. Squirrelheart says, I also miss Neil. What a great character. Thank you. Praise for the finale has continued to trickle in.
I feel like we said all the things during the marathon cast, but like, God, there's certain things I want to say again because I like them so much, but I won't because they are exclusively spoilers.
One thing I did realize when I was clipping everything up that I forgot to mention post finale, I mentioned that Mars being non-binary was kind of a like somewhat last minute instinct call.
Mm-hmm.
And normally like, so I am all for representation in my art. I really want it, but I don't like doing it for no reason.
Right.
And at first Mars was kind of no reason except for like, I always imagined Fable would voice Mars.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, is there any reason why Mars can't be non-binary? And I looked through it and I'm like, no, I think it, you know.
And as soon as you made that decision, it made big sense, especially as like a trio from the future.
It didn't like, I mean, like it fit, but it didn't make absolute sense to me until the finale because
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yes, that thing.
Yeah.
that thing that Mars said about stuff. Yep. Yes.
And that was always sort of where Mars's character was going, and it sort of added
Ooh. Kodogan would like to talk to you in person about what you mean by no reason.
That's legit. I think I have well, I guess I want to elaborate what I mean by no reason. I don't like shallow representation. And I am somewhat immune to it by being an individual creator and not a corporation. But if I'm going to tell a story, I want it to be sincere. And that's why I did do my checklist with Mars to make sure that I wouldn't, like, in Mars being non-binary, like, it wasn't going to, like, muddle the message if I made Mars non-binary. That's mainly the thing I was worried about. But in fact, it enhanced it, and I'm very glad I judged my. I'm very glad I listened to my gut on that. Is what I'm saying.
If I had to take a guess at it, it's that like, the notion of tokenizing someone is something we want to avoid. Kodogan says, put it this way: do you make characters cis straight for a reason?
That is a good counter.
Yep. I think when I'm creating characters nowadays, like, and I think this has always been the case when I look back at like different sets of characters I've made at different times in my life based on who I knew, I pull my outside world into my characters, and I think the more diverse the people around me have become, the more diverse my characters have become. And I thought, oh well, I just like the number of attributes I can select from for characters simply increases. Like the box full of attributes has just had more and more and more stuff added to it as my community and my world and my own personal like view of the world has trended towards diversity. And so in me 20 years ago, like, just like, oh, this person is trans, this person is non-binary, this person is gay, would be less easy to reach into that box and grab because I didn't have as much of that in my world around me. And I am a privileged little pancake, so I mainly have people, at that time, had mainly people very much like me. So the attributes the Lego blocks that I built my character out of were just fewer different Lego blocks. And so, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so in addition to that you just mentioned, I actually try my best to listen to what the characters are telling me about who they are. That's why the whole Neil being bi thing came up, because Neil told me that Neil was bi. Whereas most of Anachronistic, the story was meant about a heterosexual relationship of a kind. And I'm not sure, I think the problem with, or the reason why I was hesitant with Mars is it wasn't Mars telling me Mars was non-binary at first. It was more the real world telling me I should make Mars non-binary. Another, like, an example I can bring to this is Road in OTL. When I first designed her, she was white, and that didn't, like, work. And I feel like that was just the default my brain put in. And then I actually, like, talked to the character, so to speak, in weird emotional quotes. And just sort of let my idea of the character create what she looked like, and now she's black. Does that make sense?
Giving Kodogen a chance to answer, a weird sort of, like, I don't even know what to call it. Penny in the Indies.
Mm-hmm.
I knew from real early on that there was more to her than she was telling me. And I didn't know what it was, but I wrote her the whole time as if she had a secret that only certain people knew. And I think, like, at the time, at the start of the Indies, I was, you know, as me, the writer, not knowing what her secret was, but knowing that she had a secret, I was under the impression that she had, like, some particular health issue that she took a little bit of maintenance, and a couple of friends were privy to it, which actually, like, you know, many people in my life have at the time, actually, that was a very common thing in my world. And then I continued to write the character and continue to like just play this secret out and just kind of let it be itself organically. And to this day, I still don't know exactly what it was, but I do know it was a gender identity thing. Mm-hmm. And I genuinely don't know, but I think that Penny is either intersex or male to female, or like the story takes place at a certain time, and I don't think she would know that she is male to female trans, or she does know and she's working on it. Like, I feel like she didn't have the information she needed to know her own identity. And I think, like, that's where she is in her life when we meet her in that story. And she definitely expresses female, and let's see, Natalie and Rain know for sure, and I think the rest of the crew, like, just kind of finds out or is brought into the know over the course of the Indies, all behind the scenes, because they don't talk about it, because I didn't know. I wasn't confident enough to bring all these things to the surface of the story when the actual story of the Indies was happening. And so it's this sort of, like, secret subplot that's happening while I'm trying to figure out what is up with this character. Let's see, Kodogen says, yeah, it does make sense. I'm not saying that you have to have queer rep, just want you to think about why you need a reason to. I see why that caught Kodogen off guard, yeah. I think.
That does make sense. I think, to a certain extent, I wasn't explaining myself well in the shorthand there.
Because it's this fear that we have as people in the majority who care about this shit of doing it wrong. and doing it like ham-fisting it or just shoving a character in for. I almost completed that sentence with exactly the same words for no reason, right? And it's like, I think the bigger danger is to do it only for the representation, which is I think what like a lot of mainstream superhero comics do is like, oh hey, look, this character's gay. Now we have gay representation. TM.
I don't want to be misconstrued as disingenuous in representation. That's something I mean, like, I probably worry about it more than I should, but it is something that I worry about. And it's because it's something that I see happen, frankly. Both disingenuous representation and people getting called out for disingenuous representation.
Let me finish what Code's going to say. I just want to think about the reason why you need a reason for them to be non-binary or gay or bi, etc. The story doesn't have to be about that for them to be LGBT plus. All right, so Kodokan says, I think the best way to counter that is to have more. Agree. Like if you're worried about having bad representation or stereotyping, have more characters of that identity. There you go. Let's show these people that aren't all that way.
I also one thing I have to be vague about here is I did actually have reasons for Mars to be male. I decided they weren't good enough to counter the possible benefits of them being non-binary. Like I had narrative and somewhat what's the word? Rhetorical reasons. But I think I ended up making the right choice, even if I didn't have all the information up front.
I just grabbed my my Ash and Frederick page because I love them so. I love them.
I actually fun fact, I think the way Dave developed opened up I was solving these two problems at the same time, but the way Dave developed actually opened up some room for me to do something different with Mars than originally planned. I think that's kind of cool.
Yeah. And like, you know, being majority writers, we kind of have to like get over ourselves a little bit and not be afraid of it and take some chances and pull from our community and roll those diversity dice to make our characters like richer, because
there's a reason why
tough
like
for us to see outside of ourselves. It takes effort. That's why we fuck it up. It's why the world is having such a problem with it.
Yeah. I mean, to that extent, that's sort of why, like, with that particular decision, I had a big talk with Fable about it, too, and, yeah. I definitely, when I made that decision, I pooled from my community, not just Fable, but mainly Fable, because I talked to Fable about everything.
And it became time to give the kitty cat some more Benito.